morning, and welcome to Talk of the Town on 99.7, 1450 WHTC and WHTC.com.
And we welcome you to Talk of the Town for this Friday, December 18th. I'm Gary Stevens. We'll be open line following the 10 and 11 o'clock news. So if you have things you want to get off the chest and onto the radio, those will be the times. Patty Vandenberg will join us in a little less than an hour with what's new around Holland. And in our 10:30 segment on the third Friday of the month, we'll be joined by Allegan County Clerk Bob Janetsky. But in our first segment on the third Friday of the month, we say good morning to who we call the phone lady. It is Ruth Gaudard from AT&T. She joins us via the Zoom connection this morning. Ruth, good morning and welcome back to WHTC.
Good morning. It was really tempting. I'm actually on a vacation day today.
Oh.
Really tempting to just roll over and go back to sleep. But, I wouldn't miss this for anything. So.
Well, we certainly appreciate that, and certainly appreciate you spending some time to answer our telecommunications questions. And if you have a telecommunications question, yes, I know she is with AT&T in the marketing, and so she knows more about AT&T and UVerse and DirecTV, but she could talk about the industry in a fair and unbalanced way. She'll be happy to answer your question at 395-1450, 395-1450. I know this is not a AT&T or direct telecommunications thing, but right now the industry leader in virtual connections right now, Zoom, saying they're going to waive the 40-minute limit for free use of three-way or more Zoom conversations through the holidays to allow people to be able to spend time with their loved ones in more than just two locations. That's got to be nice.
Oh, that is. We there's a group of us from the office that get together quite regularly. And, over the summer we could meet outside, but we had to change that to either Zoom or FaceTime. And we had our Christmas get together last night where we did porch drops of our Secret Santa gifts and then connected. And it is nice to be able to go more than 40 minutes. I mean, especially if you have lots of people on, everybody wants a chance to talk and say hello and catch up. And I think that's a wonderful thing. I know my family, my adult sons and my grandkids, we use Zoom. And it's how many times we've had to stop and start the call over because we ran over the time limit. So.
Yeah, and let's put it this way: some of us are not well heeled to be able to say, "Oh, I got a professional one" and all that. And we just try to make do with what we can. But with the COVID-19 situation, Ruth, a lot of things have gone south. A lot of things, businesses have really been hurting. But it has been a boom to other businesses, and I would think in the telecommunications industry, it has been a boom in this, or maybe more of a better way of putting it, Ruth, a prod to be able to move forward with initiatives to increase with broadband width and also with the 5G, increasing that as well.
Yep, and it has. It's kind of a double-edged sword because a lot of our internet plans are no data caps and people are, gobbling up that bandwidth, which is fine. And it's very needed at this time. And our network has held up very well, but it certainly has pointed out some deficiencies in coverage. And at the same time, we had for many, many months, we participated in the Keep America Connected pledge, where we did not turn people off for non-payment of their bills and stuff like that. So I would say, I haven't seen any figures and nobody is really saying anything in the company, but I would imagine we took quite a hit on revenue, as did the average consumer. And we understood that. So, but it certainly has pointed out deficiencies, and we are seeing movement at the federal level and at the state level to try and get that broadband pushed out to consumers, especially in rural areas. And a lot of times it is not in the urban areas, and even sometimes in some of the rural areas, but they're not really so rural, it's not so much an availability gap, it's an adoption gap. Consumers feel, well, it's number one, why do I need it? Well, this pandemic has certainly pointed out why it's necessary. Number two, there's a population that does not really have the devices to use it, or they don't know how to use it, or they feel it's too expensive. And I would remind people there are options. Every internet service provider that I know of has low-cost broadband programs to make it very affordable. And I would urge people that, if you are one of the ones, or someone who says, well, it's just too expensive, and check into these low-cost programs, see if you qualify. Because one thing we have learned, whether it's doing your online shopping, whether it's helping your students that live in your home get their schoolwork, or whether it's looking for a job or just staying connected with people, it's an absolute necessity nowadays.
395-1450, 395-1450. If you have a question for the phone lady, Ruth Goudard, she is in marketing with AT&T, and of course AT&T also involves DirecTV and Uverse as well. And again, put the disclaimer, she is of course an AT&T staffer, so maybe some of her observations will be looking towards the industry view and then maybe the consumer view. I will say that, you have to be loyal to your bosses, and we understand that, Ruth. But she's pretty honest about some of the things going on, and there are a couple of, I will call them thorny issues as we begin 2021 in the telecommunications industry. One involves the pending change of administrations in Washington from a Republican presidency to a Democratic presidency. And I'm bringing up the topic of net neutrality. That has been an issue that has been cropping up. And with the Democratic administration probably continuing to champion net neutrality, just as the administration before the current one has, the industry must be saying, oh boy, we're going to go back and fight this battle again, I'm afraid.
It's here we go again. But as I said, if nothing else, this pandemic has brought certain situations to light. And one of the things is we pride ourselves on being able to negotiate and work and communicate with any administration, no matter what their party. And certainly President-elect Biden is no stranger to us, having been vice president under Obama. And, I'm sure that my counterparts in Washington, because of course I cover state legislative matters, I know that this has been on their radar for many, many months. And we will do our best to get what's best for consumers and for the industry.
The other thorny question I want to bring up, and I'm not going to ask you to directly comment on this particular negotiations between the Sinclair Group and with Dish Network, but it does bring up the ongoing issue of local broadcasters withdrawing their accessibility to their local channels with cable providers or satellite providers over rights and rights fees. And it has gotten ugly at times with Sinclair and some of the other entities. But this is, a warning sign to, in fact, the entire industry, I would think, Ruth, that we might be seeing more and more of this as the years go along, especially, well, maybe in the short term in 2021, but certainly throughout this decade.
And we're involved in a dispute right now with Tegna, which is in Michigan, the only market it affects in Michigan is West Michigan, with a network affiliate out of Grand Rapids. And there's a very fine line. Fewer people, fewer subscribers, people are cutting the cord, so to speak, and streaming. And so there's fewer customers for a provider such as Uverse, DirecTV, whatever. And at the same time, because there's, what happens is a provider pays a Sinclair or a Tegna or a TBS or whatever. They pay those owners a certain percentage, a certain fee per subscriber to that station owner in order to provide that channel. So there's fewer subscribers, so the owners want a higher rate of the fee. The goal is to keep that owner happy while still being able to keep costs low for the subscribers. And it's a really fine line. This is certainly not the first time that Dish has had problems, that DirecTV has had problems. It's a negotiation. It's a business process. Consumers, need to realize the owners are trying to keep it affordable for them to still be able to have the station. The providers are trying to make it affordable for them to pay that owner and to provide it to the customer, and without making it cost prohibitive.
And unfortunately, Ruth, we being the consumers are stuck in the middle.
Right.
And all that.
Right.
And then, I don't want to sound like, I don't want to be unfair on this thing, but we're seeing, especially with the situation involving the people, Nexstar, and with Dish Network, and they're telling Dish Network subscribers, hey, we'll give you alternatives for maybe other services to be able to pick up our programming. Has DirecTV gotten any bump on that yet, or not really? You can't really tell.
I don't know. We are not in a dispute with Nexstar right now, so I don't know. I do know that in the case of Tegna, which affects, as I said, a network affiliate, there is another same network affiliate out of another city that serves the same market. So consumers are not missing the network programming. What they are missing is the local programming, which is, of course, probably why they have the station to begin with. We recognize that. And like I said, it's a very thin line to walk. And it's never the intent of any provider or any station owner to not have that available to the consumer. A lot of times, if negotiations are going well, they will extend that deadline so that people don't miss their stations. In this case, it got extended and progress was not being made. So I would assume that is the same with Dish. So I guess people are going to have to realize there's choices to be made. Do you want to stream? Well, then if you're streaming and the majority of people are streaming, there's fewer customers over on this side to work with the the satellite providers and the cable companies. And so that's going to cause problems. So it's technology is great. It gives us options, but it also takes away some others.
Next week, Ruth, we get into the winter solstice. We have had a very mild winter thus far, which is very nice for those of us who do a lot of driving. Not so nice for those who like a lot of snow. We might get some snow like Wednesday night, Thursday in West Michigan. I know parts of the state have already been hit. In the East Coast, don't need to tell them about what the white Christmas. However, the interest of and it's something that AT&T has been very much in the forefront over the last 4 or 5 years, is do not text while driving. And during the wintertime, this becomes even more of a challenge.
That's definitely the case. It is, we have always said, use technology, but use it responsibly. And there is no text that is so important that you need to do it while you are driving. And that is true no matter what time of year it is. But as we head into winter and road conditions tend to get a little slippery and black ice, and you might not even realize it, if you are at all distracted looking at your phone, there could be tragic consequences. So again, I urge everyone, do not text and drive. It's just not worth it. It's not smart, and it could have very tragic consequences. So there are apps available to have your phone automatically send a response if you get a text. The response says, sorry, I'm driving right now. I will get back with you later. If you feel that that might have been an important text and you really want to look at it, pull over, pull to the shoulder of the highway, pull into a parking lot, pull into the curb, whatever. Do not text and drive, please.
And the other thing too, besides texting, is just dealing with apps in general, because anything that could just get your attention.
Anything you take your eyes off the road for is just it's just setting the stage for problems. And this is a time of year, we've already had such a hard year with all the challenges, and I don't think there's anyone who has not lost someone they know or they love, or a friend of a friend, even with this COVID. So let's not make it any worse.
Let's do a little fun thing as our final segment for this year with you. I know it's kind of hard to say, quote unquote, looking ahead to 2021, but let's put it this way. What we're looking at now, what we have with smartphones, what we have with the 5G and with broadband and all that, it'll be so 2021 when we look at it at 2026 or 2027.
Yeah.
Can we definitely, take a look to see that what we're doing now probably become as so dated as the hard line cell phones that was as big as the thing. Is it going to be that way, Ruth? Do you see that coming up?
Technology is constantly evolving, and what we do today, what we use today, just sets the stage for the next revolution. We've seen that, we went from the big wireless phones to flip phones to iPhones to the Samsung. Now those are coming out with 5G capability. It's a constant. Apple wouldn't release a new phone every year if there wasn't something new on the horizon. So yes, probably 5 years from now, we're going to look back and say, boy, we were operating in the dark ages. It's just technology moves so fast that it's hard to even say what's down the road, but we certainly never dreamed we would be doing Zoom calls and WebEx and Microsoft Teams and everything 5 years ago. We never thought that they would be to the point that they are. So technology changes, the world changes, and we just try and adapt and make it better and easier for everyone.
Just a guess, and I'm just going to make this as a guess as a layman. I think we will see in the next 5 years going away from audio only phone to video phone, and it would be as easy and as normal to talk on a video call with someone as it is talking on an audio call.
I will just say, I hope they always leave me the option, because I'm not always at my best, shall we say, for a video call. But yeah, you're probably right, and you think back to that cartoon show when I was a kid, the Jetsons, and how much of that has really become reality.
We're waiting for the Dick Tracy. We're waiting for the Dick Tracy video watch to come into reality. I have a funny feeling that will be reality by the end of this decade.
On the other, and we kind of, sometimes we reach into the past and bring it forward. There is now that smartphone that is a flip phone. So, we borrowed from the past, because let's face it, how I think probably almost everyone has experienced a pocket dial or a purse dial. And this flip phone would kind of eliminate that. So, we borrow from the past, we bring it up, and we make it a little better.
The other thing too, and as my final thought on this is, I think we might be going away from cell phone towers, maybe smaller towers, the smaller ones that we have, and maybe more satellite phones over the next few years.
There is certainly, with the advent of 5G and needing the small cells, but you do still need the macro towers, is what those are, to grab that signal and pass it on to those smaller ones, because they are up high enough that they can grab that and then send the signal down.
We'll see what happens over the next few years. Ruth, I got to get scooting.
Okay.
I appreciate your time. Merry Christmas to you, and we'll talk next month.
Okay.
Thank you very much, Ruth Gaudard of AT&T on 99.7 and 1450 WHTC. CBS News is next on the hour.